Imagine a year where that's not a movie. This is a piece of shit.
Oh, what fandinkum year is that, Zach?
Oh, fandinkum.
The year is 2001.
Hello and welcome to Oldie But a Goodie, the podcast reviewing movies from the year 2001 in the order they came out in. My name is Sandro, and as always, I'm joined by Zach.
Crikey, mate. What a cracking movie we just watched, eh?
This week, we're reviewing a movie, Crocodile Dundee 3. He's in Los Angeles now. And, Zach, how many times did you laugh during this movie? That's something we've been doing with comedies this year.
Probably less than ideal, but more than I'd like to admit.
Okay. I didn't laugh a single time. And it became almost like a challenge. When I noticed, hey, I haven't laughed yet halfway through the movie, it became a challenge to try and keep as stern a face as possible. I smiled, but I only smiled because the monkey was very cute.
I'd like to stay in my Australian voice for some of this, but this is definitely the least Australian movie of the three. There was barely any Australia in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Because you picked this, and because it's a sequel, the finale of a trilogy, you watched the first two movies from the 80s.
I absolutely did. This week, I absolutely did. I watched the first Crocodile Dundee and the second one. Mm-hmm. And they were very Australian, mate. Oh, mate. In
a good way? They're good? They're good
stuff?
Oh,
mate. They were good. Look, the first one's pretty great.
Yeah,
pretty great. But the genre is different in all three movies.
What does that mean? What are the genres?
Well. What is the genre of this movie, Sandro?
It's like if Beverly Hills Cop was a fish out of water and is from Australia.
Right.
That's what this movie is.
But if you were to put it in a category, where would you slap this? In the DVD aisle.
Right.
Where would you put this? Like action drama?
It's like a crime comedy.
Yeah. You put it in the kids section. I
mean, you could say this is a kids movie, yeah.
The baby section. Whereas the second movie is an action.
The second one's an action. Okay.
Yeah, it's more of an action film because the wife gets kidnapped.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's the first one then?
The first one is a fish out of water, like fun little drama comedy. And you know what? It's pretty great.
All right.
It's a fun time, you know. Some guy in New York comes up and tries to mug him with a knife. And then he says, "That's not a knife. This is a knife." And the muggers run off. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty great.
But yeah, Zach, you picked this movie. You had a bunch of other options that came out this week back in 2001. You had The Body, in which Antonio Banderas is a priest. He's sent to investigate the supposed finding of Jesus' body.
Oh.
Yep.
Interesting.
The center of the world. A millionaire hires a stripper to stay with him in Las Vegas for 3 days.
Wow, that sounds so exciting. I'm so excited for that movie.
Oh, you know what else is exciting? The Lausanne Defense chess grandmaster meets a young woman at a tournament in Italy. Hope she's over 18.
Oof. I was about to say, though chess is a big thing. You got the Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit was great. Personally, I prefer the board game that's based off the Queen's Gambit.
Wow.
I prefer that, yeah.
I prefer the book.
And you also had Freddy Got Fingered, surreal abstract comedy about a guy who wants to become a cartoonist, and he's also got a real mean dad. I wanted to watch it because I've heard I've heard either the most negative things in the world or the most positive things in the world about that movie.
Oh, okay.
So I really wanted to watch it.
Interesting.
But I didn't get time. So maybe Patreon. Who knows? Or I'll just watch it during the week. Who knows?
Look, I haven't read The Queen's Gambit, but I have read like some books on moves and other things.
Yeah, you would do
So
that.
I'm just saying, I can't say I've read The Queen's Gambit, but I can say I read the manual for chess.
This movie was released April 18th. It did open a week earlier in Australia, though, but we go by the American release date. So we're doing it this week, not last week. It's directed by Simon Windsor. Now, Zach, we've already done one of his films this year. He directed Crossfire Trail.
Oh, Crossfire Trail. Hey, that was okay, if I remember.
It was fine. I think the episode's pretty fun, though. Episode 159, if you want to check it out.
Yeah. What was Crossfire Trail about?
It was Tom Selleck and his mustache are cowboys.
Oh, yeah, that was a movie.
It was about as average as I feel like Crocodile Dundee 3 would be, except that this movie was also bad.
Oof.
He's also the director of the classic family film Free Willy as well. Now, this movie, it's written by Eric Adams and Matthew Berry. Matthew Berry went on to become a sports analyst, podcaster, and TV personality. He had a cameo in Avengers Endgame.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That's some big star power right there.
One notable exception from the writers in the first two, it's written by Crocodile Dundee himself, Paul Hogan. This movie is not written by Crocodile Dundee himself, Paul Hogan.
So the other two movies were written by Paul Hogan.
Yeah, they were.
Wow, that's really quite good. Yeah, I know that he was a comedian and he's done quite a bit of like stand up and other things like that. So
yeah, he had a sketch show for about 12 years, I think.
Yeah, and the original character of Dundee was one of these sketches.
Yes.
That he used to do. And so that's why he's actually quite good at it. You wouldn't know, because you didn't see the first two.
I actually think he's pretty bad at it.
Yeah. I would think, oh man, that's sad. But the first two, he's great. He's great. He's just like this Australian bloke. He's just a bloke, you know?
Yeah,
he's just a real bloke. And then, some city slicker coming in with their lingo, and he's like, just want a beer, just want to go into the outback and eat some bush tucker.
It's some bush tucker.
Yeah, some bush tucker, except he wouldn't actually eat the bush tucker. That was just for her. He pulls out a can of beans and he goes, it tastes shit,
beans. Yum. Yeah, I've seen that scene. I remember bits and pieces from that first movie.
It's a good time.
You can kind of tell that this movie isn't written by Australians.
Yeah, it's almost like it was written by, like, Hollywood, about Hollywood and Hollywood.
Yeah.
Hollywood.
I'm surprised it didn't win an Oscar, being about Hollywood.
Yeah, there was it felt a lot more corporate.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow, than the first two, which kind of, it was kind of like that background hum of corporate. We're making this to make money, nothing else.
Yep.
That sort of thing.
Yep.
And it's a real shame, because I like the actors. I like the first couple of movies. I think they're quite good. And I think it's a shame they somehow got dragged. Why did they make a third one 13 years later?
I've got a feeling that this was actually shot in the 90s, because nothing in this movie feels, oh wait, there's a Mac at one point. Never mind.
Yeah, but also the actors are 13 years older, Sandro. It is so jarring going from the second one to the third one. Because, like, Paul Hogan doesn't have lines on his face.
I don't know, it kind of felt like he did have to put the lines there so he could remember them.
Yeah.
Yeah, comedy podcast.
I would have to remember some of those lines, because, they were not exactly memorable. But that's why I wrote some of them down.
I think I wrote a couple down as well. So the rest of the cast, Linda Kolowski is Sue. She's in all three of the movies. This is actually her last ever screen performance. She gave it all up after this one.
I can see why. Oof.
Jonathan Banks is in this as Milos, the Russian guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and Airplane and Beverly Hills Cop and stuff, and I was just laughing that he was in this. It's the same as, like, Ron Perlman being in the last Police Academy movie. I'm like, what? What is this?
Yeah.
Ada Turturro, who is one of the Sopranos, also shows up for a bit. Can't remember where. I think she might be the bar owner at the start of the movie.
Right, yeah. I think she was in the first couple of movies.
Okay.
As the bar lady. So I think she got a career boost from the first two and then got dragged into the third one.
Yeah, it doesn't look like she was in the first two. Anyway, who cares, really? The reception, 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. Audience score is not much better at 25. 4.8 out of 10 on IMDb. But if we really want to get a sense for what audiences thought at the time, there's only one place to go to, and that is Cinema Score, where they get ratings from people just after they've seen the movie. They gave the film a B-. Now, the other two Crocodile Dundee movies both got a B+.
Right, yes. Both equally got a B+.
Yes.
Still, a little bit lower. Lot more positive than you would think.
Oh, yeah.
Especially considering the negative scores it's gotten now.
Yeah. On top of that, though, in terms of the Rotten Tomatoes scores, to compare it to the rest of the series, the first one's got 86%, real positive. Second one's got 9%.
Yeah.
Anyway, no idea how much this cost. I don't know, probably 10 to 15 mil. It's not too fancy or expensive.
Yeah, well... With all that Wendy's money coming in, you know.
Wendy's Pepsi as well. I noticed quite a lot of Pepsi products. So you're not sure how much it cost. I would say probably 10 to 15. What do you think it made worldwide?
Well, it's a shameless cash grab, so 15.
Wow, okay. You actually undershot that. I'm surprised.
Oh,
usually you
okay.
overshot. No, this made worldwide $39.4 million.
39! Oh my god.
We live in an unjust world where this makes $39.4 million and Josie and the Pussycats barely... It bombs. It bombs.
Yeah, that is a shame, though.
Unjust.
Because, yeah, Josie and the Pussycats was way better than this one.
So much better. One tagline.
Ooh, you got a tagline, alright.
He heard there was wildlife in LA. He didn't know how wild.
Boo!
Very awkwardly written. I hate that so much.
He doesn't really deal with much wildlife. He deals with a lot of tamed life.
Yeah, I want to see Paul Hogan actually go up against some real wildlife.
Well, Sandro, you can go check out the first two movies, and he does. He real takes on a crocodile or two. Ooh, blimey.
All right, let's get into the plot of this movie. There's not much here, but anyway.
Well, I've got some interesting points from the perspective of watching the first two movies, that's for sure.
Yeah, that'll add any interest to this.
I have some long rants in my notes that I have to concise for this podcast.
Alright, so it opens, there's a massive crocodile in the town of, what's it called?
I don't know.
What's this small town called?
It never mattered to me. I watched all three movies and I never figured out what the name of the town was. Didn't care.
It's this tiny outback town. Where even is this set? Is this set in, like, Northern Territory? Is it up near Broken Hill?
I think it's near Central Australia.
So...
I'm pretty sure they mention where it is several times in the first one, but I don't remember. I didn't care. I hadn't write it down.
Where is Crocodile Dundee set? Let's have a little... It just says the Outback. Great.
Yeah. There you go. Or maybe it was actually just vague. That makes sense, actually. A lot of the facts are super vague.
Yeah, it doesn't say. It was filmed in a national park in the Northern Territory, right? So yeah.
Northern Territory. There you go.
Central Australia.
Yeah, makes sense. Northern Territory.
Town is called Walkabout Creek.
Walkabout Creek, of course. How could I forget that?
Oh, very easily. So there's a massive crocker hanging out in Walkabout Creek, and Crocodile Dundee's going to take care of it.
Yep.
Except he doesn't.
Yep.
He paddles out, and the croc destroys his boat, so he jumps up into a tree, and then Jacko randomly appears, and then Jacko also gets up in the tree.
Yeah. So immediately, I'm like, I know Crocodile Dundee's, he's comically choiced with words. Like, he's a man of few words.
Yeah.
But still, I think he would try and warn Jacko that there was a crocodile there.
I don't know, it's pretty funny. I don't know, I think Crocodile Dundee, he loves a prank.
Yeah, so you laughed at the scene.
He's a larrikin, you know what I mean? He's all about making jokes at other people's expense.
No, but he would have been like, look out for the crocodile, you know?
Yeah.
And Jacko goes, what crocodile? Then bang.
Yeah, they have a jump scare with the crocodile.
Yeah, they do.
They're just casually talking, and then this crocodile jumps out of the water. And they don't even try to catch the croc. They're just like, that's too big, and then walk off.
Why do they leave? They're the worst crocodile hunters. They're just like, well, it was too big. We give up. We're going to go to LA now.
They give up, and they know that there are tourists there, like, watching this creek, and they're like, we'll do it next week. Bye.
Yeah, that's it.
So he's got a kid in this one.
Yep.
The kid's Mikey? Or is the kid Mike? No, Mick.
I think Crocodile Dundee's Mick, right?
Right, so he's Mick, and then the kid's Mikey. That's right, because that's important for a joke later.
No, it isn't. You're saying it's important. That joke is garbage.
It's not important. They're walking home through the bush. They come across a goanna, which is like a giant lizard.
Oh, it's a big old lizzy boy. But they don't find the goanna first. First, they have to locate its turd.
Yeah, they track it down through goanna poo. Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, now try and find the goanna. And then the kid goes to throw a stone at the goanna, but Dad's like, oh, you shouldn't harm animals.
Yep.
Unless you intend to eat them.
And then the goanna does a comical gulp.
And I was like, oh, no. Because that's the first real, like, sound effect that we have during this movie. But, oh, my God. The sound effects made me cringe. Because they're not in the other two.
Good. Because if they were, I'd probably never watch them.
Yeah, no. It was really bad. As soon as that goanna gulped, I knew I was in for one of these things.
Yeah. Because I have I watched the first one on TV maybe, 10 plus years ago. And yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure they didn't make weird noises. Like, the animals weren't making, like, gulps and stuff in that first one. So
yeah,
good.
No.
I'm glad that that's only in this movie.
Yeah.
They also come across a razorback.
Oh, razorback. I was like, yeah. Razorback. They call it a razorback. This is the one thing that this movie improves upon the first two, is it has a razorback, so I can say razorback.
Episode 84? Something like that. That's the episode where we review Razorback. Check out that episode.
I think that episode is like a fever dream.
Yeah, it's mainly just us doing accents.
Doing accents and going Razorback. Oh, goodness.
Wakey, hands off Snakey. I still remember that. It's been almost 2 years.
Wakey, hands off Snakey. Oh, no.
So Sue is not married to Crocodile Dundee. He hasn't proposed yet, but they've got a kid together, and that's just a plot point so they can have some semblance of storytelling in this movie.
Yeah.
With a beginning, middle, and end to that arc. So her dad wants her to go to LA to work at the newspaper that's in LA. And so she's like, I'm going to go to LA. And Dundee's like, I'm going to come with you. And our kid can decide whether or not he wants to live that city newspaper life, take over from your side of the family, or if he wants to be a croc hunter like me.
So it seems very reasonable.
Yeah.
He's washing a trap in the sink.
Yeah.
And it's not like, it's like a bear trap.
Yeah, it's a bear trap.
And then she's like, what are you doing with a bear trap? And he's like, oh, some idiot set it up and I took it away.
Yeah, no. The bear trap was to put outside of the bar because someone kept going into the bar and stealing Davo's beer or something like that.
Oh, right, yeah.
So he was gonna put the bear trap outside of the bar to maim the thief.
Yeah, right, yeah. So instead of maiming animals, because that would be cruel, he's instead maiming a human.
Yeah, that's
which
fine.
Is fine.
Humans suck.
That's true. Can't argue with that.
But what about that dumb joke where he spots a huntsman?
That's what I was just about to say. This is something I could get angry at, though.
Yeah.
It was a tarantula.
Oh, it was a tarantula. Okay.
It was a tarantula.
Wait,
which is not native to Australia.
Why is there a tarantula in Australia?
I don't know. I thought maybe they were going to explain it as, like, maybe it's their pet. And it had got out of their cage. Oh, no. It was just a random-ass tarantula because Australia has spiders.
Yeah, we got so many very dangerous spiders, like tarantulas, which are definitely in Australia.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really dumb.
So it's literally just like the movie's like, here's a tarantula, and he deals with it. I thought he was going to let it out, you know?
He kills the he doesn't eat it.
No, he doesn't eat it. This goes against all his tendons.
Yeah.
He just murders a spider. I would have... Even I, with my arachnophobia, would have been like, let's put this... Actually, no. I would have captured that one and then... I don't know what to do with it, because it's not a native species, right?
Yeah, you would have been like, this is a bit weird. What's happened here?
If I today found it... Well, actually, I'd probably suspect it was like a neighbour's pet that had got out, right?
Sure, but why would your neighbour import a tarantula to have as a pet? That's a bit weird. Just get rats at that point.
That's my only explanation for why I found a tarantula in my backyard, Sandro. If you can come up with a better solution as to why a tarantula's there, aside from the writers deciding it's there, then you be my guest.
I guess. How can the writers know the term razorback, know about goannas, but not know that tarantulas aren't native to Australia?
I think they didn't care.
Oh, that checks out.
Yeah. I think they were like, let's put a big old spider in, and they didn't care what species it was.
Hi everybody, my name's Jess.
And my name's Ellen.
And we're from Murder in the Land of Oz, an Australian true crime podcast. We've covered such notorious crimes as Alison Baden-Clay,
Backpacker Murders,
Anita Cobby,
and Azaria Chamberlain,
and many other crimes featured around Australia. You can find us on any podcaster app, such as Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or any other place that you get your podcast from. You do you, dog.
You just make the right choice for you. We are witty and charming, and we're a solid 4 out of 5 stars.
According to Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much, guys. We hope you join us on our trip around Australia. Bye.
That's Not Canon Productions podcast.
So they go to LA, they fly... They fly on a Qantas flight, which I laughed at.
Yeah. I wrote down something. Sponsored by Qantas. Hey, at least we're not Jetstar.
Oh, but Qantas back then, it's 2001. They're at the height of their power.
That is true. Qantas,
before it all came crashing down.
I remember taking Qantas as a child, and it was a flight.
Sure, I think I took Qantas once. Now I just go Jetstar because it's cheap and good most of the time.
Yeah.
And they arrive in LA. I immediately noticed that Sue's accent was very weird because she talks in an Australian accent for the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Does she?
But then for the rest of the movie, when she's here in America, she talks with like an American accent.
Huh. I didn't pick that up, but I probably should have.
Oh, not much happens for a while. Oh, Dundee and Son are running along the beach.
Oh, no.
The kid makes a Baywatch reference, which is like the TV show Baywatch ended in 2001.
Yes.
So that they really got that reference in at the perfect time. The kid's like, oh, look at all these ladies, all the lifeguards. They look like the people on Baywatch who run like this. And all the guys in the pub go, whoa.
Yeah. Oh, no. Why is this kid at the pub?
It's Australia. I mean,
yeah, that's fair. That's practically a daycare.
And then this random lady runs up and almost trips over, and Dundee helps her.
What a weird fucking scene.
She's like, wow, look at you with your kid. That kid would make a good friend to my daughter.
Yeah.
Are you married, Dundee? And he's like, no, I'm not. And she's like, oh my, this is too good to be true. What's the catch? Are you gay? And Dundee's like, oh yeah, I'm pretty happy. This is 2001, and they're still making Police Academy era jokes. Like, come on.
Yeah, well, yes. Yeah, it's a bad joke. But, like, in the original movies, that was a thing. He didn't understand the lingo.
Right.
She rides off and they're like, well, she has a nice ass, though. And I was like, no!
I think the kid says it, right? The kid says it.
Yeah!
And then Dundee's like, you gotta stop hanging out at the pub, mate.
Yeah,
Which was actually not a bad joke.
Yeah, that was funny.
They cause a traffic jam on the highway because they almost run over a skunk, and then they got to go save the skunk, but then the other people in the traffic jam are like, they've got a bomb, and then the police show up, and I hated that whole sequence. I was like, this is just get to the plot, because this is the thing, there's no plot yet.
Yeah.
We're half an hour into the movie, and there's no plot.
No.
And I'm just bored.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot the whole first 3/4 of this movie has zero plot whatsoever.
So
I was like, oh, yeah. What, they cause a mass, like traffic jam just because of this stupid skunk. And they have this whole gag where someone mishears and someone says it's a bomb. And then everyone thinks it's a bomb, but it's actually just a skunk.
Yep.
It's important because the newscaster will recognize him as the skunk guy later on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, I think this is when the plot starts getting introduced, actually, is just after the skunk incident. Because the previous editor of the newspaper was looking into this movie company who keeps making really bad movies that don't make money, except they keep making them with higher budgets. And so the editor was like, something fishy's going on here. They go to a media event for this movie studio.
Yeah.
This fancy dinner. She brings Dundee along with her for some reason. Terrible decision on her part. And he talks to some random guy. And the guy's like, everyone here in LA, they're counting calories and they're only drinking vodka because they don't want to, put on any weight or whatever and get unhealthy. Me, I eat and drink whatever I want and then flush it out with coffee. Yeah, a good coffee enema cleans you right up.
He finishes that sentence by going bottoms up and drinking his glass. And that point I lauged.
You laughed at that, okay.
Yeah. I don't think it was deliberate because he's just bottoms up, but it's just bottoms up after talking about enemas, and I thought that was funny. Oh. I don't even know if that was a joke they intended, but it was funny to me.
Oh, and apparently as well, they used the sugar and milk in it as well. So if you're like lactose intolerant...
Wait, are coffee enemas a thing?
I mean, I can look it up.
No, what? Oh, did they say that in the movie?
Yeah, no, it's real.
Oh, God.
It's real.
This sounds awful. First off, you get so much caffeine. But if you're adding sugar to that sounds terrible. Why? Why add sugar? It's not like you're going to taste the bloody thing. I liked when he was schmooving around the place and he talks to, like, a guy. And he's like, oh, have you seen these movies? And he's like, nope. And he's like, oh, thank goodness. They're terrible. They're garbage. Like, he said, oh, yeah. He says, the only thing worse than Lethal Again 1 is 2. And I was like, haha, this movie is making fun of sequels. When it itself is an egregious sequel. I love it when they do that. I love it when movies make fun of other movies when they are objectively garbage.
Yeah. It's usually quite bad. Unless you Scream, in which case you can do it. But in any other movie, don't you dare.
Well, Scream is a good movie, though. That's the whole point.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them are good.
Okay, well, yeah, it depends which Scream you're talking about. But the whole point of those movies is that they're, like, parodies, right?
Yeah.
That they're making fun of other movies. That's their entire thing, is that.
That's the whole point. Whereas this is actually trying to be a movie, yeah.
Yeah, this is a throwaway joke. Oh, and something you wouldn't have picked up. You wouldn't have picked up at all on this, but I picked up because it makes no fucking sense.
Oh, no.
He grabs someone else's cigar and snuffs it out.
Yeah, someone at the party, and he's like, you'll thank me for this later.
Yeah, what did you think of that?
I was like, that poor lady smoking a cigar.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in the other two movies, he's a fervent smoker. He smokes throughout the other two movies. But not just that. Like, in the first movie, I think it's the first movie, someone else grabs his cigar, takes a puff on it, and is like, that's good shit, and gives it back.
And then he stabs him.
No. Then he's like, oh, gross. Like, so he's already experienced that, like, grabbing things. But the whole point is that he, like, was miffed that someone would do that to him. Like, he's a fervent smoker in the first two movies, but he doesn't smoke at all during this movie. Like, obviously, but, like, they don't explain it at all. But they have the scene, like, just cut out smoking entirely. Why do you have the scene where he grabs a cigar and then snuffs it out? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I guess someone came up with a joke and they just put all the jokes in.
He's like awfully polite.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the first two, is like sometimes he's just very polite. Whereas that was just rude and as a throwaway joke, but it ruins the whole continuity. It's like, why does he do that? If they maybe explained he gave up smoking or something, it would make sense.
I mean, I guess that's probably what happened, yeah.
Clearly he'd have to, because he smoked throughout all the other two movies. That was a big thing, you know?
Yeah.
He gets into a hotel and immediately starts smoking, you know? Anyway,
random scene with Mike Tyson. He's in this movie. Famous sportsman Mike Tyson, who, to quote the film, is built like a brick dunny.
Yep.
It's pretty funny. The only reason they got Mike Tyson is to make the joke, "Hi, Mike, I'm Mickey, Mikey's dad."
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, Mickey, Mikey, Mike, oh, that's real funny. You gotta be joking."
What a terrible cameo.
Just an
awful cameo.
Oh, it's funny, because they say he's hell of a nice guy. You know, he wouldn't hurt a fly, you know? It's funny because it's Mike Tyson, even though they repeatedly reference and talk about wrestling.
Yeah.
So they don't know what reference is, just not boxing, I guess?
Yeah.
Because the kid says, "Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?"
Yeah, they keep referencing. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Sue goes to Paramount Pictures to talk to the studio head, and he says something about they're splitting the production between America and Yugoslavia because this film has to have a crime plot.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
Yeah. Did Paramount fund this movie? Is it a Paramount movie?
Let me check. I think it is. Even though they make fun of Paramount and say that they wish that they went to Universal.
Yeah, that's what I was going to point out. They said they make a joke. It's like, should have gone to Universal.
Yeah, it's a Paramount movie.
Yeah. And I thought that was funny. I thought that was genuinely funny because they're making fun of themselves.
Anyway, the kid is in school, sees a rat, knocks the rat out. All the kids in the school are like, you knocked out a rat. And the teacher's like, oh, you knocked out a rat. Who's your daddy, little kid?
Yeah.
That creepy teacher. But then she's like, actually, I don't want your dad. I want Jacko.
Yes, because at this point, this is when I wrote down, the whole reason Jacko exists is to be a younger, more desirable Dundee so they can have these horny ladies go after him instead.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because it will less creep out the audience. Because literally Jacko has a bite on his leg in the exact same spot as Dundee, which was one of the crucial plot points of the first movie, was that he was bit on that leg. But, like, Jacko doesn't exist for two movies. Like, it's dumb. It's very stupid.
My next notes are, wow, it's 2001 and we're still making these jokes, because joke number one, they make a joke about drive-thrus. In 2001!
Well, like, they're still reasonably recent, but it's more like the whole point is in Australia you don't get many drive-thrus, especially around 2001.
No, that's not true. McDonald's had heaps of drive-thrus.
Yeah,
It's bad. It's a dumb joke.
The whole point was that they didn't get drive-thrus in the middle of the outback and batshit middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but I'm not from the outback and they made this dumb joke and I hate it.
Yeah, but the whole point is that they make a big deal of drive-thrus and we're like, haha, we can go to a drive-thru every day. This is so silly. And then they have the whole thing where they're like, we have 6 people in the car. Let's get 6 orders, but there's just 2 of them. And they feel like they're cheating the system.
I don't think my face has ever been straighter. They also make the joke that Police Academy even gave up. Which is Dundee and Jacko walking around the street. They walk into a random bar, or turns out it's a gay bar, and they walk out.
No.
And they're like, oh, stone the bloody crows, mate.
Oh, no.
They make that joke. Out of all of the jokes, they make... It's 2001. Police Academy stopped doing that joke before the first Crocodile Dundee movie.
Yeah, no, it's bad because it's a cowboy themed bar, and so cowboys getting free, but they're Australian blokes, so they're just dressed up. They kind of look like cowboys, so they're let in free as well.
There's a bunch of other dumb comedy moments, but let's just move on with the plot because they realize
the mugging scene's pretty good.
Nah,
that's the whole thing. You didn't like it?
It's fine. I don't care.
I mean, yeah, it was funny because they jumped on the car, and I was like, why would you do that? But yeah.
Yeah, they jump on the top of the car to squash the people that are trying to rob him. Anyway, Dundee gets a job as an extra at a film studio, but then he works his way up when there's a monkey on set that doesn't know what to do, and he helps the monkey know what to do, and that was one hell of a cute monkey.
Yeah.
And I smiled when the monkey was being cute. I was like, no, look at that cute monkey being forced against his will to do a movie.
Yeah, I liked when they're talking about Paul, good old Dundee, they say, oh, hell of a nice guy, can't act for shit, will probably end up with his own sitcom.
That's funny.
And I was like, ha 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 ha.
But anyway, he finds out what's actually happening. They are transporting stuff from Yugoslavia to America, and what are they transporting? It's not drugs, it's paintings.
They first think it's drugs, or at least Dundee does. And he's like, oh, they can mould heroin into anything. They're moulding it into the picture frame.
Into the picture frame, yeah.
I laughed because I wrote down, like, what the fuck is this plot where they have picture frame drugs? And then it's like, oh, that's not the plot at all. So that was the second time I laughed at this movie.
Okay.
They did a fake out with the plot there, and I was like, what the fuck is this plot where they have drug picture frames?
Yeah, no.
It seems so inefficient. And then the movie's like, no. And I was like, right.
Turns out what happened is there was a place in Yugoslavia, a gallery with heaps of priceless artworks that was destroyed. No, it was bombed. It was bombed.
Yes.
And the paintings were all destroyed, so the authorities think what actually happened is this group of people stole those paintings, made the place blow up, and then are sending those paintings back to America to be a part of the sets so that they can, like that's their sneaky way of getting around everything, is saying that these are for our movie sets.
Yeah. They're just props. They just say they're props.
Yeah.
And then their sneaky plan is because in the movie that they're making, the good guy burns the place down. So what they're going to do is replace the paintings with fakes and then burn the fakes.
Yes.
And so then if anybody comes asking, like, hey, were these the real paintings? They go, oh, we don't know. We burned them all down. Look at the movie. They burn in that movie. And that way they can get away scot-free.
Boom, wham, bam. Thank you, Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee. Yeah. That's right.
So, and then the final action sequence of the movie happens now, because the final action sequence is he tries to steal one of the paintings and then has to run away from a bunch of goons. And like in a normal movie, this is the start of the third act.
Yes.
Is this. He takes the paintings, and then something, I don't know, that they go to the bad guy's base with heaps of other cops and stuff, and reinforcements and action scenes. But no, the final action scene in this movie is he's running away from a couple of goons through a bunch of Paramount, like, movie sets.
Yep.
And it's bad.
What do you mean? I loved it when they went into a car set.
Yeah.
And they turn on the fans, because you got to have the car being blown around like it's running. And then he throws various objects at the goon. Like, he tosses them into the fan and it blows into the goon, including a giant, like, paper mache cow.
Yeah.
That when it hits the goon, it hits him ass first. and it makes a farting sound effect.
Cow makes a fart noise.
And this is where I wanted to end the movie. I physically wanted to just stop. I was so mad.
I was like, what is going on?
It's like, okay, first off, the cow can't make a farting noise.
It's a paper mache cow, unless there's a whoopee cushion inside of the cow, but that doesn't make any sense.
It means the bad guy made a farting sound, but he was hit by the cow.
That's kind of funny.
Which is dumb. No, I hate that. Second off, you used a fart sound effect, and it's like, oh god, I hate fart sound effects now. I just hate them. Every time, it brings me straight out of the movie. It's in The Lion King as well, and it pulls me right out, and I'm like, oh man, this is the one... If I was to remove anything from The Lion King, or this movie, it would be the fart jokes.
Yeah, not great.
But unfortunately, Pumbaa is a fart joke. That's his whole thing. And it's just, oh dear.
And then the chase ends in the jungle area, obviously, and he throws a knife at this goon and just narrowly misses the crotch area by, like, I don't know, a few not even inches, millimeters, I guess. Yeah, like real close. And the bad guy's like, I think he missed.
Yep, that's a joke.
This is a joke.
The thing is, he threw away his weapon.
Yeah, because...
like, that's Dundee's one weapon, right? He just kind of threw it away to threaten a guy's ballsack.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Maybe he doesn't want to murder them, but that's fine, because in the second movie, he throws his dagger, like, hilt first, to knock a guy out with the hilt, because he's really good at throwing things.
Yeah.
As we can see here. It's dumb. It's really bad. But don't worry, he's got a different weapon.
He's got a different weapon because the bad guys rock up and they've got Sue and Jacko captive. They captured them off screen. Stuff was cut to make this movie only 90 minutes. Stuff was cut.
Thank goodness.
So that this movie could just be 90 minutes long.
The second movie was an hour and 50 minutes, and that dragged.
Hour and 50?
Tell you.
Oh my goodness.
An hour and 50 minutes for the second movie.
Yeah, this one's thankfully quite short. And yeah, the goons have captured Sue and Jacko, but Dundee's let the lions out.
Ah, the lions! They're gonna eat us! Better get into the cage, everyone, to protect you from the lions.
In the cage.
Because Dundee's using his psychic powers on one of the lions, but he can't do it on the other two.
You can't control the misses, or the step misses.
Yep. And then the other lionesses show up, and it's like, oh no, better get in the cage.
I was completely expecting that Russian guy to get eaten. Like, I was like, Dundee is ruthless right now. He's like, you threatened my wife?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let that lion eat your butt.
Yeah.
They knock out all the bad guys, and Dundee proposes to Sue. So that they could have some sort of ending.
Yep.
For any of the arcs.
Yep.
Is he proposes. We then go back to Australia, cut to the wedding, and the guy's like, so...
What a wedding.
Do you accept this larrikin as your wedded husband? And she's like, oh, I do. Do you accept Sue as your wife? And Dundee's like, yeah, no worries. And then the priest's like, fair enough.
Well, that's not how it works. You got to say, I do.
Oh, the teacher is now with Jacko in Australia. Yeah.
Of course. And I liked when they threw away the wedding bouquet and the giant fucking crocodile in the lake catches it. Because that means that the crocodile's the next one to get married.
Aww.
Isn't that sweet? Except Jacko and Dundee take off their jackets to go catch it now. Why didn't they do that at the start of the movie?
And then Dundee asks the kid, he's like, well, what do you think? You're going to be a crocodile hunter, or are you going to be a newspaper tycoon? And the kid's like, well, Dad, I'm going to be a croc hunter and a newspaper tycoon. And then he changes his last name to Murdoch. That kid, we haven't talked about that kid's acting. It was not very good, but also... No. He got along really well with Paul Hogan, I think. They had good chemistry.
Yeah, they did actually have good chemistry. Good on them. I liked it because Paul Hogan's like, I didn't raise no idiots. I didn't know. What did he say? I didn't raise no dunce or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Which is good.
Oh, and of course it ends with the Land Down Under song by Men at Work.
Yeah.
Because of course it does.
Which is definitely the best part of the movie.
I am sick of that song, actually.
Oh, I love that song.
I'm sorry. It's every single, make fun of Australia. Every single thing plays that. I'm like, come on, play I don't know, Heaps Good by Muff and Plutonic. That song's hilariously Australian.
Yeah. But yeah, I like Men Down Under. It's a good song, at least.
Yeah, that's true.
Ding, ding, da-da-ding,
that's the movie. Did you have anything else to add? I just want to be done with this. Do you have anything else to add with this movie?
No. I think that's the end of my notes. Look, I'll say, as someone who watched the first two, I definitely think this is more bearable. Because this was more like this was like half a nostalgia movie.
Yeah.
Like, they just made it for the people who remember the first two movies.
Yeah.
So if you don't even have that, then this is just a terrible comedy movie. And that would have been painful to watch.
It wasn't painful. This is boring.
I think it was painful when I watched it, I was like, oh. No, actually, no. It hurt me more because I saw these, actors in the previous one. I'm like, I feel bad for them because they had to be part of this movie,
Anyway, I'm giving this... I think I'm just giving this an oldie. I don't think it needs an award or anything. It's just an oldie. It's nothing.
It's just an oldie. But just like the actors in this movie, bit too old. Bit too oldie.
Gollum has an unhealthy obsession about some bit of jewelry.
Doesn't even know this is what the precious is. Stupid therapist.
Cookie Monster's a bit of a stress eater.
Cookie.
And homicidal robots really just want their best friend back.
I know I did and said things that she regrets. But why is that my problem?
All of these monsters really need is therapy. The podcast Therapy for Monsters finally puts monsters in the therapy chair with a real therapist. Me, Tim, your friendly neighbourhood therapist. If you'd like to learn a bit and laugh a bit, check out Therapy for Monsters on your favourite podcast app.
That's Not Canon Productions podcast.
Well, you say that, Zach, that the actors in this movie were old, but would you believe that there's a fourth movie?
Is there?
There's not. No.
Oh, thank God.
In 2020, though, you could be tricked into thinking that there is a fourth movie. Because in 2020, released straight to Amazon Prime because of the pandemic, there was a film called The Very Excellent Mr. Dundee. Except it's not about Crocodile Dundee. It's like Paul Hogan playing himself.
Whoa, okay.
And he's coming out of retirement to get knighted or something. Anyway, it's not very good.
That's a shame.
But yeah, there is kind of a fourth movie-ish, except it's not about Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, no, it's more a play on Paul Hogan's career.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a shame. I would have liked that one to be good, at least,
Yeah. I think there's some Monty Python people are in that or something.
I have to check it out at some point.
But because there aren't any proper sequels, we of course have to make our own sequel, the only way we know how, by crossing it over with another movie we've watched on the podcast.
Yeah, and I feel like the thing is, Crocodile Dundee, if it weren't for this terrible movie, would have been a perfect target for a crossover, because it's literally just like, whatever movie you have, just put Crocodile Dundee in it.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
But we're going to see just how easy that is, though. Because I've got a random number generator. It's going to generate a number, and the number that we generate on the episode that has that number, crossover between that movie on that episode and Crocodile Dundee. 3, I guess, but just the franchise / character in general.
All right, Sandro, spin that wheel.
Oh, spot it. 18. Wow, we're going far back.
Whoa, that's far back.
Oh, we've gotten 18 before.
Have we?
It's 3 Ninjas again.
Oh, it's 3 Ninjas. You sure it wasn't a different 3 Ninjas?
No, well, because we did all 3 Ninjas movies in episode 18, and then we did the one with Hulk Hogan on the episode of Breakin'. Let's roll it again, because we've already gotten 3 Ninjas that crossed over with a slasher.
Although that one would be pretty great to have, Dundee teaching combat with the ninjas,
All right, I've done it again. 78. 78.
Ooh, 78. Okay.
Let's see what 78 is. 78 is Conan the Destroyer.
Yeah.
The sequel to Conan the Barbarian, starring Arnie.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. Well, this is definitely the crossover.
Arnie and Paul Hogan.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's not a bad mashup, actually.
No, it's not at all. So, it's set in modern times. Okay.
Right.
And we see we see Paul Hogan. He's on the old I don't know what the Australian slang is for a phone.
The old shit talker.
No, that's Twitter. That's Twitter you're thinking of.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. He's on the old caller-upper, talking with his wife, and she's like, "Oh, you enjoy your holiday back out in the outback," and he's like, "Oh, I will." And so he's in the outback, just going around, just exploring. When he finds a cave that he's never found
This
before.
is exactly where I was going to go with this.
Yeah. He finds a cave with strange carvings.
Weird cave, and he's like, "What's in this bloody cave, mate?" And then he walks into the cave.
Yeah. So he's got these paintings and stuff.
Yeah, there's paintings on the wall of the cave. Yeah.
But they depict a large individual wielding a sword.
How about this? He walks into the cave, deeper into the cave.
Yeah.
And there's like this crystal in the middle of the cave.
Oh, no.
And there's a man inside the thing.
Yep, absolutely.
And he's like, "What's this?" And then he's like playing around with it. Maybe he's got like a didgeridoo and he goes, "Boah!" And that wakes up the crystal. And who's in the crystal? Why, it's none other than Conan himself. He was trapped in a crystal, and now he's got to get home. He's going to travel back in time to his own times.
Because it turns out this land is the same land that in Crocodile, that's in Conan the Barbarian.
I don't like that idea.
Thousands of years in the future.
No, I don't like that idea because there were only white people in Conan.
Yeah, well, that's true. Maybe he was actually transported here to keep him away from everyone. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, they got to do that. There's an evil wizard.
Yes. Oh, yes.
They got to go up against an evil wizard. Oh, and the evil wizard uses crocodiles as its servants and its whisperers.
Yeah. It's He's like the croc whisperer.
Yeah.
And he sends like crocodiles after him, but Dundee's a better whisperer. So at one point they have like a whisperer off where the wizard is trying to make the crocodile eat them, but Crocodile Dundee whispers him down.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a scene as well where Crocodile Dundee, like, he gets out his big knife and Arnie's like, "What is that tiny sword? That's not a sword.
That's not a sword. This is a sword."
And Paul Hogan also says, "I'll be back" at one point as well. They swap their taglines around.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Because it's like they're going after some sort of like time traveling.
Yeah.
Let's say boomerang.
Time traveling boomerang.
Because it always comes back, right?
I
like
hate
back
this.
to the past.
Yeah. It always comes back to the past.
Yeah.
And they use the boomerang to transport.
So Arnold goes after the boomerang, but at one point, like the like wizard is gonna stop them, and it's like, "You go after the boomerang, I'll go get this crocodile whisperer," and it's like It's like, "Oh, are you sure?" And it's like, "Don't worry, mate. I'll be back."
And then they get the boomerang, and the boomerang transports Arnie back to his own time. But it also transports Paul Hogan back to his own back in time. And then we get another movie where it's him and he's in Fantasyland.
Sequel to our crossover.
Sequel to a crossover. We get a bunch of them.
Oh god!
And they're all called Crocodile and Conan, A Land of Magic.
Oh, no.
No, magic and friendship. That's better.
Yeah, nice.
Let's move on to the next segmente.
It is time for Rotten Reviews.
Splat.
It's the part of the show where I get the best reviews, and by best reviews, I mean audience reviews from the best website, Rotten Tomatoes.
Such a good site.
Such a good site.
It sounded like I was a stoner then for a second. Such a good site, bro.
Bro. This is the good site, man. This is good stuff. All right, and we get the audience scores because, as everyone knows, the critics are just always wrong.
They're wrong.
Every point.
They're all paid off by Paul Hogan.
This week, I have grabbed good old 5 of the finest reviews I could grab, but there's a 6th review
Dun, dun, dun.
done by moi.
Bum, bum, bum.
And Sandro has to not only guess the scores of each of the reviews I tell him, but also guess which one of them I wrote.
I gotta guess which one you made. Scores between 0.5 and 5 from memory.
Yep, we've done it every week, so you should remember it. We have Jake, who says, like the shoes, this croc, brackets, of crap, is full of holes, hideously ugly, and better off never having been dreamt up at all.
This croc, like the holes, is for that side. That's a joke about crocs.
Yeah.
This is the sort of shoe. Dumb. I don't know. 1 star.
Close. It's 1.5.
All right, 1.5.
1.5. Close. Jessica says, Paul is good at what he does.
Yeah.
But the croc needs to just kill him already.
You know what would have been funnier, though? Yes, a croc should kill him, but, like, the way that he should go out is, like, he goes swimming one time and just a shark just out of nowhere.
Well, he does mention sharks in the first movie.
Okay.
Because Australia is also known for having great whites and other things on its shores.
Yeah.
Like, it was mentioned, but never mentioned again, unfortunately.
I'm going to say that's probably a 2.
Close again, but it's 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5.
Ah, all right.
We had L, who said, should be subtitled, Flogging a Dead Horse.
Oh, Crocodile Dundee flogging a dead horse, mate. I do like some dead horse from now on. Yep.
Yummy.
I don't know. These are negative. 1 star.
Ooh, okay. Again, close. It's 2 out of 5. This is the 2 out of 5 one. Don't worry, you might be agreeing with Daniel. These last 3 reviews are rippers. We have Daniel who says, you know it's going to be rubbish, but you watch it anyway. Why?
I think that one might be you, because you chose it, and why?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that's probably 1. I don't think any of these are 0.5. I'm going to guess 1.
This is 0.5. Don't worry, maybe you'll get Robert who says, what a crock of shit.
That's a pretty good review. Yeah. That better be 0.5.
It's 2 out of 5.
I can't get the level of how bad it is. It's,
Oh, well, you should be able to finish off with this last one, all right? You should, because Katharina says, oldie, but a goodie. Right up there with Romancing the Stone.
Romancing the Stone is way better than this.
Way better. And doesn't it star the villain as the good guy in Romancing the Stone?
I don't think so.
No, okay. Just they look similar.
Romancing the Stone, though, good movie. Oldie but a goodie. I'll say maybe 3.5.
3.5. Oh, you were so close. So close. It was 4 out of 5.
I didn't get any of those. And the thing is, now if I guess which one your one is, I'm going to get a negative point.
Oh, no. This could be the first time you got a negative point. I didn't even think of this situation when I came up with the fact that you could get negative points.
I'm going to say your one is that one where it's like, you know it's going to be bad, but we watch it anyway. Why? That's your one.
Well, I regret to inform Sandra that that's not my one at all.
Negative. I've got a negative point. God
gotten
damn
a
it.
negative point. Hey, you could try and redeem yourself and get it on the second. I'll allow you to get a second.
Crock of shit. That's your one.
Yeah! That is my one! Alright, you're still on 0. You managed to redeem yourself.
Yay! Woo. Not this time, negative point. Not this week.
Yeah, woo!
Alright, that's the episode. Thanks for listening as always. If you enjoyed this, good work. Don't watch the movie though.
Yeah, don't watch the movie. Watch the first 2.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not the second one. A lot of people hate that one. I thought it was fine. Certainly a lot better than this one somehow.
If you like the show, you can follow us on Instagram at oldiebuddygoodypod. We're on Facebook, same address. We are also on patreon.com/oldiebuddygoodypod. Get that bonus episode of Hard Ticket to Hawaii, which is out on Wednesday. There's a huge back catalogue there as well. All the Police Academy movies that we haven't covered on the main show are over there as well. A lot of fun. All that stuff. We got personal stuff. We've both got letterbox accounts now because you made one. That was pretty funny. That you made that.
Oh yeah, let me put up my letterbox review of this movie.
And you can also rate us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That really helps get the show out in front of more people. MX reviewed us on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, nice.
Said, super unique film pod, a must for cinema fans. Gave us a 5-star review. Just something simple like that helps get the show out in front of brand new people who might want to check us out. So we really appreciate everyone who does that. Massive thanks as well to Josh Cake, who came up with our theme song.
It's great. It's got a little theme. We play it at the start. If you like that, go check him out.
And also all the shows on the That's Not Canon network that we are, of course, a part of. Big thanks to them as well for everything that they do over at that'snotcanon.com. Now it's time to do what we usually do at the end of the episode. Make a mistake. Time to make a mistake.
Yeah, like we did last week. Yay!
Woo!
We have Driven, which features Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, which is good in other movies. Is a retired racing car driver who decides to help a young driver win the championship.
That's just Creed.
Yes, The Forsaken. A film trailer editor travels across the Arizona desert and comes across a vampire cult.
Oh, I do love vampires, and I also love cults. I love them. I want to join them. Let me join your cult. What? Weird.
Interesting. If you have a cult on hand, call up Sandro. He's interested.
I'll join it. No questions asked.
What do you mean, no questions asked? Not even one?
No. Well, the only question will be, can I join? And then I'm in your cult, mate.
No.
I'm in your cult.
I feel like that's a dangerous thing to go saying. Anyway, we have The Golden Bowl.
Yeah.
Which is a period drama about a dad and a daughter who get married to 2 different people who turn out to also be in a secret relationship with each other.
That's uncomfortable.
Yes. So the dad gets married with the mum, and the daughter gets married with their now son-in-law, but the son-in-law and the mum... no.
I don't want to watch that, actually.
One night at McCool's.
That's a weird name.
At McCool's? Nah, McCool's a McCool name. Liv Tyler kills her boyfriend.
Good on her.
And then goes to live with the... Thanks, Sandro. Goes on to live with the bartender who falls in love with her, as does his cousin and the detectives investigating her case.
Wait, so she killed her boyfriend and then everyone falls in love with her?
Yep.
Cool! I'll join your cult, Liv Tyler.
No! Sandro, no! Town and Country. It's one of the biggest box office flops of all time.
Oh, that's high praise.
Yeah. Well, it's not praise, is it? No. It's about 2 couples reuniting and funny stuff happening. And that's about it.
I hate most of these options.
Yeah. These are all terrible.
See, obviously I'm a big fan of horror movies, particularly bad ones, and The Forsaken sounds quite terrible. So I am always kind of leaning towards that.
We've done a few vampire movies.
But that's the thing. We've done a lot of vampire movies, particularly last year. One thing we didn't do much of last year was Sylvester Stallone movies.
Yes, we haven't done Sylvester Stallone.
Do I pick Sylvester Stallone as also, racing car driving? I can't imagine Stallone as a car driver.
All I can think of is, Speed Racer, and I'm imagining Sylvester Stallone as the Speed Racer for some reason.
Yeah, we'll do Driven.
Oh, we'll do Driven. I thought you might have considered Town and Country.
Let's wrap it up with the best quote from Crocodile Dundee. Oh, we're up Schitt's Creek without a crocodile.
Is that something they say? I don't remember that one.
My favourite quote is at the very start. These British tourists walk into a pub, and one of them orders a gin and tonic. But the bar person just gives them a pint of very average looking beer.
Yeah.
The British guy's like, "Yeah, but I asked for a gin and tonic." And the person at the bar's like, "Oh yeah, well there's no harm in asking, is there?"
Yeah. So that was Thud or whatever his fucking name was.
Okay.
And he was a big goon. The whole thing was he was really big in the other movies. In this, he's just an extra. Again, which is unfortunate.
What's your favourite quote?
Oh, yes, I could go for a good coffee enema. Anyway, bottoms up.
Cow fart.
Oh, yes, sound effects.
Boing. Gulp.
Hell of a nice guy. Can't act for shit. Will probably end up with his own sitcom.